Let me ask you a specific question that might make you uncomfortable. I want you to audit your energy levels over the last 24 hours. Why is it that you claim to be completely burned out after writing an email or focusing on a business task for just 10 minutes? Yet you somehow possess the limitless, godlike energy to scroll through TikTok, play video games, or binge-watch Netflix until 3 a.m. It does not make biological sense. If you were truly physically exhausted, like a marathon runner crossing the finish line or a construction worker laying bricks for 12 hours, your body would physically shut down. You would fall asleep immediately. But you aren't sleeping. You are seeking stimulation. You are hunting for the next hit. This reveals a brutal truth that most people are too weak to admit to themselves. You are not tired. You are bored. We need to stop using the word burnout as a shield to hide behind. In the modern world, what you call burnout is rarely physical exhaustion. It is almost always dopamine dysregulation. You haven't run out of energy. You have run out of sensitivity. You have bombarded your brain with so much cheap, high-sugar, effortless digital stimulation that simple hard work no longer registers as worth doing to your neurochemistry. Your brain has calculated that the effort of working is not worth the low dopamine payout compared to the free dopamine buffet available on your phone. You feel fried not because you worked too hard, but because you have overstimulated your receptors to the point of numbness. You are trying to fuel a high-performance Ferrari with cheap soda. Of course, the engine is stalling. In this video, I am not going to give you the standard, soft, generic advice you hear everywhere else. I will not tell you to take a vacation, go to a spa, or practice self-care. That advice is useless because it treats the symptom, not the disease. In fact, treating dopamine dysregulation with more leisure often makes the condition worse. Instead, I am going to teach you how to factory reset your brain's chemical reward system. I am going to show you the Dopamine Fasting 2.0 protocol. We are going to rebuild your neuro baseline so that doing hard, boring, difficult work actually feels more pleasurable and exciting than playing a video game. But be warned. To fix this, you first have to understand the invisible scale inside your brain that controls every single decision you make. It is called the pleasure-pain balance. If you do not understand how this mechanism works, every attempt you make to rest is actually chemically guaranteeing that you will feel even more tired tomorrow. Let's look at the data. To understand why you feel dead inside, you need to visualize a mechanism deep within your brain called the pleasure-pain balance. Imagine a seesaw. On one side, you have pleasure. On the other side, you have pain. Your brain constantly works to keep this seesaw level. This state is called homeostasis. When you engage in high-stimulation activities, like scrolling through social media, watching adult content, or eating processed sugar, you are jumping onto the pleasure side with massive force. You trigger a sharp spike of dopamine. For a few moments, you feel good. The seesaw tips all the way to the right. But here's the biological law that most people ignore. What goes up must come down. Your brain realizes it is off balance. To restore homeostasis, it does not just wait for the seesaw to level out naturally. Instead, it actively pushes down on the pain side with an equal and opposite force. Think of it like a team of little pain gremlins jumping onto the other side to counterbalance the pleasure. This is the crash. This is exactly why, after you spend an hour scrolling through 60-second video clips, you do not feel relaxed. You feel empty. You feel anxious. You feel a strange sense of lethargy and lack of motivation. You are not just returning to neutral. You are plunging into a deficit. That feeling of emptiness is a Neuro-Tax. You borrowed cheap happiness from the future. And now your biology is forcing you to pay it back with interest. So, let's redefine your condition. What you call burnout is not physical fatigue. Modern burnout is simply a state where your dopamine baseline has dropped so low that you are living in a permanent state of chemical deficit. You have abused the spikes so frequently that your brain has permanently weighted the pain side of the seesaw just to keep up. You have become chemically numb to normal life. You are not tired of working. You are just suffering from withdrawal symptoms because real work doesn't give you the instant hit your addiction requires. I want you to quantify the damage right now. Pick up your phone. Go to Settings. Open your screen time or digital well-being dashboard. Look at the daily average. Is it 4 hours? 6 hours? 8 hours? That number represents the amount of energy you are stealing from your own ambition. That is the debt you are accumulating. I want you to be honest with yourself and with this community. Go down to the comments and type your daily average screen time number. Do not hide it. Face the data. Now, looking at that number, you might feel hopeless. You might think you need to throw your phone in the ocean and live like a monk to fix this. Most gurus will tell you to do exactly that, a total detox. And that is exactly why most people fail. You do not need to go to extremes. You need a smarter strategy. You need a system I call friction engineering. So how do we fix the balance? We fix it by distinguishing between the two types of dopamine. Not all dopamine is created equal. There is expensive dopamine. And there is cheap dopamine. Expensive dopamine is earned. It comes from effort. This is the feeling you get after a brutal workout, after finishing a complex project, or after reading a difficult chapter. This type of dopamine is healthy. It reinforces the neural pathway that says, hard work leads to reward. Cheap dopamine is stolen. It comes from passivity. This is the feeling you get from scrolling TikTok, watching pornography, eating junk food, or playing mindless mobile games. This is toxic. It rewires your brain to believe, I can get the reward without doing the work. Rule number 1 is the cheap dopamine ban. For the next 14 days, you are going to conduct a surgical strike on your habits. I am not telling you to stop enjoying life. I am telling you to stop consuming passive entertainment. If the activity requires you to sit there like a zombie while an algorithm feeds you content, it is banned. No social media scrolling. No adult content. No processed sugar. No video games that do not require strategic thinking. You need to starve the pleasure side of your seesaw so that your receptors can regain their sensitivity. You will feel bored. You might even feel depressed for the first 3 days. Good. That means it is working. That is your brain healing. But here is the problem. You cannot rely on willpower to stick to this ban. Willpower is a battery, and by 8 p.m. your battery is dead. If you rely on willpower, you will fail. This brings us to rule number 2, friction engineering. You must understand that your brain is fundamentally lazy. It is designed to conserve energy. It will always choose the path of least resistance. Right now, the path of least resistance is to pick up your phone and scroll. It takes 0 effort and gives the immediate reward. We are going to flip that equation using the 20-second rule. If you want to break a bad habit, you must increase the friction required to do it by just 20 seconds. If you struggle with checking your phone in bed, willpower is not the answer. The answer is to charge your phone in the kitchen. Now, to check your phone, you have to physically get out of your warm bed, walk across the cold floor, and go to another room. Your brain will run a quick cost-benefit analysis. It will say, I want the dopamine, but I don't want to walk to the kitchen. And because the friction is too high, the brain will give up on the urge. Delete the apps. Log out of the accounts. Put the controller in a locked drawer. Ow! Make the bad behavior annoying to perform. By engineering high friction for bad habits and low friction for good habits, like leaving your book open on your desk, you stop fighting your biology and start using it to your advantage. However, removing the bad habits is only half the battle. You are now left with a void. You have removed the noise, but how do you actually find the drive to do the hard work when it feels painful? I am about to share a psychological tool used by the Navy SEALs. It is a way to hack your brain so that you actually feel a rush of pleasure exactly at the moment the pain is at its worst. Here is the secret that separates elite performers from the average person. The average person only releases dopamine when they hit the finish line. They suffer through the work, hating every minute, just waiting for the result, the degree, the paycheck, the six-pack abs. But the elite, the Navy SEALs, the top CEOs, the Olympic athletes, they do something different. They do not wait for the reward. They become the reward. They have trained their brains to release dopamine during the effort itself. This is a cognitive protocol called the subjective reward. Neuroscience tells us that the experience of pain or stress is subjective. Your brain receives a raw signal of high intensity. It is your prefrontal cortex that decides to label that signal as suffering or excitement. Most of you label the friction of hard work as suffering. You tell yourself, "I hate this. This is hard. I want to stop." When you do this, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. You drain your energy battery. But you can hack this. The next time you are sitting at your desk, struggling to write that report, or the next time you are at the gym and your muscles are screaming, I want you to pause. Do not say, "I hate this." Instead, say to yourself, "This friction is the feeling of my brain upgrading. This pain is weakness leaving my body. I am enjoying this because I am getting stronger." It sounds simple, but chemically it is profound. By reframing the pain as growth, you stop the release of cortisol. Instead, your brain releases epinephrine, adrenaline, for energy and dopamine for focus. You are literally converting stress into fuel. When you master this, you become unstoppable. Because if the effort itself makes you feel good, you no longer need the result to be happy. You become a machine that generates its own motivation. However, even a machine has limits. We are biological organisms, not robots. No matter how strong your mind is, your neurons will eventually accumulate metabolic waste. You will need to recover. But here is where 99% of you destroy your progress. You do not know how to rest. When you take a break, you probably lie down and pick up your phone. You think you are relaxing. In reality, you are committing neurological suicide. If you want to maintain high energy all day without crashing, there is only one way to recharge your biological battery. It is a specific protocol used by Google executives and Silicon Valley founders. Most people think they are resting when they switch from a spreadsheet to a news feed. This is a fatal error. Your brain does not distinguish between work data and entertainment data. It is all information processing. It all burns glucose. You are not resting. You are just task switching. You are keeping the engine running while the car is parked. To actually recover, you must turn the engine off. The protocol for this is called NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. This is the exact technique used by CEOs in Silicon Valley to work 14-hour days without burning out. Here is how you do it. You lie down or sit back. You close your eyes. And for 10 to 20 minutes, you listen to a specific audio guide that directs you to relax every muscle in your body. Biologically, this state allows your brain to flush out adenosine, the molecule that makes you feel groggy. and resets your dopamine levels back to baseline much faster than a nap or a full night's sleep. 20 minutes of NSDR is mathematically equivalent to 3 hours of sleep in terms of restoration. Finally, you must apply the 85% rule. Do not try to be perfect. Perfectionism is a form of procrastination. Aim to be disciplined 85% of the time and allow 15% for chaos and mistakes. If you try to be a robot 100% of the time, you will break. Consistency beats intensity. Now, let's wrap this up. Energy is not an accident. It is an engineered result. If you are waiting for motivation to strike, you will be waiting forever. But if you learn to manage your dopamine, you control your destiny. Stop being a slave to the algorithm. Start being the master of your own laboratory. Go down to the comments and declare your new identity to the world. Type the words, "I am in control." And hit that subscribe button if you are ready to leave the 99% behind. Now look at what you have built over these last few videos. You have the iron discipline from our monk mode protocol. You have the learning strategy from our synaptic tagging protocol. And now you have the limitless energy from dopamine fasting. You have built the perfect Formula 1 race car. But a race car is useless without a destination. That destination is wealth. In the next video, I am going to give you the 5-step roadmap to turn these high-performance skills into your first major income stream. No get-rich-quick theory. Just tactical execution. Click the video on the screen right now. Let's drive.